Hello viewers, welcome to Top Notch Online TV. With you today is none other than Teacher Fidelis from Alliance High School. I'm a teacher of English, an author, and an editor. With me today, I have Teacher Rispa. She's from PCA Kikuyu High School. She's a teacher of English, an author, and of course, an examiner. Students, if you have watched the two previous episodes, we have been discussing the new set book, A Silent Song, and the teachers discussed the first two stories. Today, we shall continue the discussion, and the story at hand is Ninema. Ninema is a story by an Indian author from South Africa, and this is Veronica Partha. To start off, we shall be looking at the title of this story, and we shall look at the plot summary using the episodic approach. Now, to start off, we want to talk about the title. The title of this story is Ninema. So, when we look at Ninema, Ninema is the main character in the story. She's a woman who is so focused on her work. She sells her herbs in an Indian market. We see her waking up early as 4 a.m., arranges her herbs in her basket and goes to the market. When we read this story, we get to see the interactions Ninema has with both her clients and other women in the market. The next thing we look at is, you see, when you're having a short story, we have a short plot. So this revolves around one main character, and the main character we have talked about, Ninema. So when we look at the title, we see that the title is appropriate for this story. Now we shall have 4 episodes in this story. When you look at the 4 episodes, they will assist you to just come up with a plot summary. And remember, when we use these stories, then we shall be writing essays in English paper 3. And to start off, we have the first episode, and this is Ninema's preparations before she goes to the market. Ninema wakes up so early, at 4 o'clock in the morning. She goes to the garden and reaps her herbs. Now we see her arranging the dania and the mint in her basket so neatly, and then she washes her face with cold water. Ninema doesn't have any hot flowing water in her house, but she has to look clean as she's going to the market, and so she uses cold water. We see her taking a bath once in a week using hot water that she heats on an open fire. The next thing that she does is just having a lot of challenges before she goes to the market. You see the way she's preparing, and we're told that everything she does it with a sigh. But the sigh is not out of giving up. It's a sigh to showcase that she wants to focus on everything that she's doing, and she'll just change her life. The next episode that we have is Ninema's interactions in the market. Ninema is such a beautiful woman. We're told that she has long black hair, she wears her sari, the waist is so cinched, and the men stand and stare at her. But Ninema doesn't get this attention to her heart. She's focused on her work, and she says that the main focus is just earning a living. When you look at her sari, it just drapes so well on her body, and this makes her get attention even from other people. Now, once Ninema gets to the market, she has to ensure that her stall is arranged. You know, the herbs are arranged well, and we're told she does this in an appetizing way. And so this keeps the customers flowing to her stall. Now, when you look at the weather in the market, the weather is so hot. We see Ninema sweating. She sweats so much that her sari just clings to her body. But despite these weather conditions, she keeps going and she stays focused. In the market, other women like chatting with Ninema, but Ninema does not chat back. She doesn't like this because she sees it as a waste of time. And instead of chatting away with other women, she just focuses her attention to her customers. Once her stall is ready, we see Ninema just sipping her tea as she waits for her first customer. Those are the first 2 episodes, and the third episode at hand is Ninema's customers. We have talked about Ninema arranging her herbs in an appetizing way, and of course now we see the customers flowing in. Now, Ninema says that the first and the last customer of the day is the most important. What is the reason, you ask? Ninema says that these customers bring good luck. So we have the first customer, Mr. Chinran. This is a man who keeps buying herbs, more herbs than he needs from Ninema. He is in love with Ninema. And every time he comes to the stall, the other women in the market keep laughing because they know it's not like this man needs a lot of herbs, but he wants to come to the market so that he can interact with Ninema. When you look at the Indian culture, we see that we have different castes in the culture, and Ninema is just a poor girl from a lower caste, while Mr. Chinran is a rich lawyer from the Brahmin caste. And when Mr. Chinran comes to buy the herbs from Ninema, he starts thinking about an arranged marriage that he will have in time, and he thinks about his jealous wife taking over the buying of the herbs, and this makes him hot under the collar. The next customer that we have is Mrs. Singh. Who is Mrs. Singh? This is a rich old woman who comes to buy herbs from Ninema. This woman is so loyal to Ninema, but she has one issue. She keeps haggling for prices. She always wants Ninema to lower her prices. But as we know, Ninema, she's a very focused woman, and she runs her stall with an iron fist, and so she never budges. Mrs. Singh likes interacting with Ninema, and she wants to take a long time, at the stall because she's bored in her big house. Now, it's almost lunchtime, and Ninema now has served 2 customers, and she has many more customers flowing in at around lunchtime. These are the clericals and the professionals. They buy the herbs so that they can use them for the evening meal. The next customer we have is Dr. Siddharth. Dr. Siddharth is a customer who keeps buying herbs from Ninema, and he also doubles up as Ninema's mother doctor. So he comes and asks about how Ninema's mother is, and he's actually happy that she has not gone to him asking for any medication on flu or a cold. Now, lastly, we have one new customer, and this new customer is gifted an extra bunch of mint. Now, she's so happy, and she promises to come back again. And we have the last episode, and this is Ninema's journey home. When you look at Ninema, we see her hanky bulging because it was full of notes and coins. She had made good profits for the day. She arranges the remaining herbs in the basket and places it on her head. And she starts walking home. And as she walks, we see a man blocking her way. And she wonders, why is this man blocking my way? This man goes ahead and pinches her erect nipple hard. And then he laughs out loud and tells Ninema, if you liked it, then you can follow me. Ninema is so angry, and she takes out her chumpol and starts hitting the man. Unknown to her, the ladies in the market were watching. They were jeering the man and applauding Ninema at the same time. Upon seeing this, Ninema takes her chumpol and gives an extra hits on the man. The man is so astounded and embarrassed. He doesn't do anything. He just covers his face with his hands. After that, Ninema takes her basket, places it on her head, and walks home. By the time she gets home, it's already dark. Again, we see Ninema washing her face with cold water. She washes with cold water because she doesn't have any hot flowing water in her home. She sits and thinks about a home that the dreams of owning a home that will have flowing hot water in the house, a kitchen, and a big garden where she'll be planting her herbs and they would flourish. So students, that is the plot summary of Ninema. Remember that we have looked at 4 episodes, and when you look at these 4 episodes, then it will help you just even when you write your essays, you'll be in a position to write a complete paragraph. So just a reminder, the first episode, we have looked at Ninema's preparations as she goes, or before she goes to the market. Number 2, Ninema's interactions at the stall in the market. Number 3, we have Ninema's clients. And last but not least, we have Ninema's journey home. So with that, I'm sure you can give a plot summary about the story Ninema. So after that, the next thing, students, that we shall be looking at are the themes in this short story, and Teacher Rispa will take us through.
Thank you, Teacher Fidelis. Whenever we are going into the themes after we have covered the plot summary, it looks like a second opportunity towards understanding the story better. And from what we have always been saying, themes, what are themes? They're issues that are being raised from the author to the students. What do they want us to learn about the story of Ninema? And remember that we should always be using a noun or a noun phrase in the description of the themes. The first theme, I'll be talking about sexual immorality, or in other words, you can still call it sexual harassment. This comes when Ninema was closing up the business for that particular day. She had made her profits, now she was headed home. As she was headed home, we learned that a man came from nowhere blocking her path. Then the man laughed lustfully and then pinched her erect nipples. As if that was not enough, the man is challenging Ninema, if you liked it, follow me. That comes out as sexual harassment, whereby we look at it in interpretation. You can say that what made the man think that his unwanted advances were auguring well with Ninema. The person did not ask you to do it. Why did the man decide to do that? It is like they look at women, they see an object of satisfying their lustful desires. That is it about sexual harassment, the pinching of the nipples, and then asking her, if you liked that, follow me. It's like there is more coming if you could follow me. That was sexual harassment. Another theme that comes to our attention as our second theme, let's talk about the theme of courage. Courage is where someone exhibits courage in the where someone is supposed to be having fear, but then they exhibit courage. Therefore, we are coming up with the theme of courage. Courage comes through Ninema in that after the man had pinched her nipple and then challenging her to follow him, maybe any other woman might have felt the need to be embarrassed. But then Ninema does this. She places her luggage in place and then decides to go after the man. When she goes after the man, we are being told she took her champol, her sandal, and she hit the man on the head and further on the face. She's using her sandal to meet punishment on the man. And you're being told she does it until her anger was spent. She had to teach the man a lesson. And the other women, they look at her in admiration. They're behind her in supporting her. Maybe they couldn't have taken such an initiative of beating up a man using a sandal, but then they are impressed at what Ninema has done. They are looking up to her. Apart from maybe the episode of Ninema beating up the immoral man, we can also use the words of the author to bring out that Ninema is courageous, therefore falling under the theme of courage. The author's words are that, despite the words of the author are that, despite life being tough, the author notes that Ninema is equally tough. That can also be found on page 13. Another theme as our theme number 3. Let's talk about discipline, and discipline you can stroke it with focus. We are looking at the way Ninema lives her life. Let me first of all start by defining what discipline is. A discipline, a set of rules regulating behavior. The way that Ninema lives, she is guided by her own set of rules, and we do not see her swaying from her goal. She has a goal to make a living, and a number of things stand in her way, but she doesn't get swayed by those things that stand in her way. On to my first illustration to illustrate that Ninema is disciplined. Number one, as my colleague was, the first illustration of the discipline, as my colleague was discussing, she was able to bring out Ninema's beauty, that she had a shapely body. How did you describe her waist?
Her waist is cinched. You know?
Yes. Her waist is cinched, and she has some full hips that bulge whenever she walks, drawing the attention of men who look at her. But then when she gives her a stare, when she stares at them back, the men recoil out of embarrassment. It was not only the men that were admiring Ninema, we're also learning that the women were also admiring her high cheekbones.
Yes.
But then from the words of the book, you're being told Ninema did not let their attention get to her. She was here to make a living. These sentences are almost following each other. It is falling squarely on the theme of focus. That the woman is so beautiful. She's turning the heads. She is also gaining the admiration of the women folk. But the woman does not let her beauty get to her head. She, in fact, is here to make a living, and she focuses on that. She is disciplined indeed. A second illustration on the theme of focus or discipline, we are talking about Ninema when she is arranging her stall. When Ninema is arranging her stall, we are seeing that she does it in a particular order, and whenever she's doing that, women usually chat amongst each other amiably, in a friendly kind of way. But Ninema rarely answers back. She is focused on, I need to do this before the start of before my customers begin to visit my stall. That is yet another illustration on the theme of discipline. Another thing is a third illustration. Ninema looks like the best of her character traits, and then when the character traits build up on a certain issue, they go to themes. We are learning that Ninema is such a disciplined person. What else does she do? Ninema, she usually carries tea in a flask. She carries tea from home in a flask. But Ninema never dares to take a sip of her tea until when her stall is set and ready for the first customer. That is how disciplined she is. She doesn't even allow the hunger to come in her way. She'll only drink that tea when it is time for drinking it. And time for drinking that tea is when she is done with the arrangement of her stall. Another thing still on Ninema, this theme seems to be the most focused on when it comes to the story of Ninema. I still have a fourth and a fifth illustration towards the theme of focus or discipline. There is a man, a lawyer by the name of Chinran.
Yeah.
Chinran has some kind of infatuation with Ninema. He's infatuated with Ninema. That is what makes him to come buy herbs more than he needs. And whenever he is in that stall, Ninema has also realized, if you're continuing with the reading of the story, Ninema has realized that this man is infatuated with her, but then she treats him the way she would treat any other loyal customer. She treats them with respect and appreciation. It is not that she is not aware that a man from a higher class is interested with her, but then over here it is on focus. Focus is on the business. And the business, what matters in a business are my customers. If a customer is loyal, then I treat the customer with respect and appreciation. That is it about Ninema. And still on another theme of Ninema being disciplined, Ninema being focused, therefore we are on the theme of discipline and focus. Ninema is a nonconformist. She does not look at, now people expect A, B, C, D from me, therefore I have to change and behave as they deem appropriate. We are being told that some people hated the person in Ninema, not for any particular reason, but they did not like Ninema for who she was. Not everyone, but some people were having a problem with her as according to her pricing. Yeah. Why doesn't she ever lower the prices? Some even had a problem with her non-chatty nature. And others, people always try to find a problem with you. Others even had a problem. Why does she sell herbs only? Yeah. But then we do not see Ninema changing. She's focused on being the person that she is, and she maintains that to a T. We are looking at another thing, a thing that we shall be calling culture, a people's way of doing things. In the book of Ninema, we are getting some points on on their culture, first of all, in their culture, there was the issue of the caste system. The caste system whereby you had to marry within your caste. That is why, as much as children was interested in Ninema, the interest would not really move forward. It will just be left at that point. It will remain at just being an interest. Still on culture, are people's way of doing things. What else do they do? These people, from where the story has been taken, we are learning that these people had arranged marriages. From the story of lawyer Chinran, we can still get the point that he was troubled that when the mother finally succeeds in arranging a marriage for him, the wife will take over the buying of the herbs, therefore, it will reduce his interactions with Ninema, the point being arranged marriages. Still on another theme, making our theme number 5, let's talk about the theme of poverty. When you're looking at poverty, we can give a number of illustrations. First of all, we look at the way Ninema is living her life. We are looking at, she has a dream of owning a house that will even have a kitchen. Another thing we are seeing about poverty, Ninema has not yet made it. She does not have running hot water, therefore she is reduced to warming water in the open fire outside. We are seeing that if it was her wish, she would have wanted to have a house with running water, therefore that builds up on the point that there is poverty.
Yeah.
Still on poverty, we are looking at Ninema. Ninema could only afford to take a shower once a week. And during that once a week on Saturdays is where she would wash her hair. That is it about poverty. Lastly to the 6th theme, which is also my last theme, I'll be talking about class discrepancy. If you don't wish to call it that, you can call it social stratification. We are looking at society, and then there's some differences in society. Differences maybe in this book that have focused on a difference that is brought about by different classes. We cannot marry because we belong to different classes. A point in place. Let's talk about Chinran, who was a lawyer, and he belonged to the highest caste, which was the caste that was called the Brahmins. The Brahmins were supposed to interact amongst themselves. Therefore, as much as Chinran was infatuated with Ninema, he couldn't even go ahead and make his infatuation into a relationship that accumulates into a marriage. Also, Ninema, when people realize this Chinran always comes over here a lot of times because he is in love with Ninema, but then Ninema would just look at them and wonder, even if he is interested in me, how much would that interest amount to? Because he belongs to the group of Brahmin caste, and she to the lower caste. Therefore, we are seeing that there was a class discrepancy based on the caste system that was in place. Just to build up on the same, as Ninema is looking at the absurdity of people thinking about herself and Chinran being in a relationship, she also cites that it was unthinkable to have a relationship just as much as it was unthinkable to have a relationship with a white man. Therefore, over here we are seeing in their society, you could not just interact with anyone. The caste system put in place limited you to the kind of people you would interact with. You couldn't interact with people away from your caste. You also could not interact with people such as a relationship with a white man. That is it about our social stratification, class discrepancy, and about our themes for today.
Thank you, Teacher Rispa. And of course, students at home, I know now you have a number of themes that we have learned today from this short story, Ninema. And just remember that when you're having these themes, maybe in the next episode, actually, we shall be looking at how to answer some essay questions using this short story, Ninema. So number one, we're just looking at the virtues, because mostly when we look at this story, we're mostly looking at the virtues that Ninema has. She's focused, she's determined, she's resilient. We have all these. So when you want to build on your points, then you'll be using either the themes that we're discussing or the episodes that we have in the story, so that your point now gets home. And with that, it's goodbye from us. Until next time, see you. Bye bye.